Hello. Welcome back, folks. Here we are for round number 4. Am I right, Satyak? Or have I lost my
Precisely.
count after today's
Now,
crazy Japanese Grand Prix? Here we are for round 4 of Bwoah Racing League in season 6. This is the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix at Imola, and special race for today because we have one shot quali followed by a sprint race and then a 50% race. How exciting is that, Satyak? It's the first one
yeah,
of the season.
an absolute first here in the Bwoah Racing League, and I'm excited as I'm always for a race in the Bwoah Racing League. And turns out we got more drivers in attendance compared to the last race around. Mind you, all 20 positions receive points in the Bwoah Racing League, but regardless whether it's a 10-man grid or a 20-man grid, we still have lots of action-packed racing, and more the merrier, as I'd like to always say, and most people out there would too. Davin, right off the bat, one shot quali. I'd like to see. I'd like to think a couple of people are gonna sandbag it and trying to climb up the order. Or I also wanted to ask what the impact is on tires. I don't think there's any kind of impact with the format change on tires, is there? Or am I wrong? Kind of bit phased out on that front.
Oh well, I think we're about to find out in the race because I'm equally in the dark on that sense.
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't done a sprint race around in the game for quite a while. So, but I do believe that the drivers will have their FP2 allocations usually in real life allocated towards the sprint race. So in this case, the drivers will have a medium tire and a soft tire available for their sprint race. One shot quali, obviously it's going to be softs only, and then in the race they're going to have another set of mediums and hards to start off, and that will make their life easier, I guess, in terms of strategy. But one shot qualifying is underway, and we can see a lot of positions changing up and down already. I'm on my wheel today, Satak, so this is going to be exciting because I don't have a controller to do things, but it feels so natural to be on the wheel once again.
Of course, for a league racer such as yourself, it's natural to be out there behind the wheel and racing rather than behind the mic. But I'm always glad I have someone who knows what's up on track right alongside me. Because we all know, Dalvin, that if you were out on track, you'd probably hammer everybody out on track.
That's a little bit of a overstatement, I guess, but a lot of these people here are equally good and even faster than what I could imagine on a one lap pace and even on race pace. So they'll probably give me a smacking instead. But yeah, nice to see them out on track. You can see Danny, Derb are still going pretty quick. They are leading the lap time so far, and there we go. In Rivazza 1 and 2, you can invalidate your lap so easily, as we have seen from Kuberabi. We were just riding on board with him. Derb has crossed the line and set the pole position for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, and he will be starting in the front row. Andre, who has been fighting him pretty hard in the past few races, will line up alongside him in P2, just under 4 tenths behind him. Pretty good lap, I'd say, for one shot qualifying. Only 9 drivers making it through a weighted lap. I'm assuming the likes of Yuken, Mr. Stark had some issues, and the rest of them, Kuberabi, Vex, Envy, and RB Fellow, DSQ, signifies that they might have
Envy.
just invalidated their lap. So quite a back row we have there, and not a unusual name there, RB Fellow, Sartak. You know what's the deal?
Yeah, but yeah, then again, it isn't the main race, is it? It's a sprint race. We don't know what's been up with RB Ferrello. 2 out of the 3 races that has been held by Bwoah Racing League, he's actually retired from the session pretty early on into the race, if you remember. So hopefully he does a good job, a spectacular job in the sprint race, and we get to see his best in the race itself. But then again, something peculiar in this one out that I noticed is the battle in front, Big Man Joe in the top 3. So clearly, something about him is really, tends to favor Big Man Joe, you could say. He was the race winner last season out, and this season again he's in the top 3 ahead of a bunch of the other drivers out on track. Dishy's in the mix in the top 5 as well. Envy starting at the back along with RB Ferrero, like you mentioned, quite the field in the back. So I think sprint race, we're going to have lots of action. Let's hope they don't tire themselves out for the race.
Indeed, and I'd say it's a redemption for whoever has had a bad qualifying to make up some positions to get a better start for the main race. Top eight, as usual, in sprint race gets points. So I wonder if that's the same for our point scoring. But regardless, clouds are a bit dark, Sadak. Looks like there's a bit of a rain coming towards the end, but I don't think that might be the case. A lot of drivers are going for the medium tires. I wonder if there's going to be rain for 1 or 2 laps at the end, and that could spice things up for the end of this sprint race.
Yeah, we always like variance in the weather for a better viewing experience. You could say definitely not the drivers. They hate it. They won't like us talking about it either. They truly believe in the power of the jinx. The commentators curse even they'd
Indeed.
say on their own performance and on the weather. So a bit less of that perhaps. And it's the first time in the Bwoah Racing League, first time for the drivers as well. They were absolutely clueless until 5 minutes ago that we were even going to have a sprint race to begin with. So clearly they did not practice for this, you could say, but they did practice for Emilia. So perhaps,
Yeah,
probably not too much of a strategy, a lot to learn out of this experience going into the next couple of sprint races we have in the season.
Yeah, and the most important thing to note is in the sprint race, there is no mandatory pit stop. So, if you make a mistake, you might just end up at the back and you've got a long way to go. 11 laps will be the distance. It's always 1/3 of the main race's distance. So we have 11 laps here and we will have 32 laps in the main race, which is going to come right after this. And surprise, surprise, everybody is on the medium tires. Well, I guess the predicted pit stop strategy is just unnecessary there, isn't it? It's gonna be thrown out of the window. There's no pit stop required. Mediums will go till the end. The question is, do you want to attack first or do you want to save for the last 3-4 laps? Because there's only one DRS straight here, Satak, the main pit straight, and that could be realistically the only opportunity to overtake. And then the rest of the circuit is sequence of corners, whereby if you get it wrong, you may be susceptible to an overtake, or if you get it right, you might just be able to line up a move on someone onto the main straight or somewhere on conventional, perhaps here at Aqua Minerali where our leader Derp is going. A tricky section, I like to call it the Aqua Spinerali, as we will see maybe in a lap or two or throughout this sprint race and the main race. You'll find out why I like to call it that. Let's hope the drivers do not make it come true, but it's always a challenging track to drive here. Very technical, but also very satisfying once you nail it. Formation lap, Satek.
Yeah,
We'll have two of this time.
Yeah, yeah, in an effort to get acquainted with the track, right? Regardless of the formation lap, I'm putting in effort a couple of days before the race itself to spend a good amount of time on these tracks. We race on Sunday. We see these drivers race on Sunday. And I had the most moments in Variante Alta. I hope I got that right.
That's the
kept getting sent
corner.
out.
Am I right?
Precisely.
Yeah, indeed.
So you already know what happened to me. I was driving
okay.
a Ferrari. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Traditions and prophecies may be fulfilled.
No, you do not. No, you do not. You do not want to say traditions being a Ferrari fan. David. No, there should be traditions. But anyway, what is traditions is the formation lap ending, of course, ahead of a sprint race for the first time in the Bwoah Racing League, with Dup on pole position, Andre on the front row. 5 lights are out and away we go right off the line. Andre has a sloppy start of sorts but keeps it level with Dup. Gets a better start compared to Dup. They're neck and neck, wheel to wheel, going into the first corner. It's Andre in P1, Dup in P2 as it stands, wheel to wheel through into sector 1 as they go. Andre still's got the nose up ahead, Dishy up in a P3. Big Man Joe tumbles down the order. Sicknick somehow up in a P4 as well, and it's 2 tenths between the front two.
Indeed, and there was a hectic first lap, I think somehow they made it through unscathed there. No damage so far for anyone, no collision just yet. And as we say that, Mr. Stark at the background just runs a little bit wide on the exit of Toza hairpin. Here comes Spiritella, and now it's a downhill dip into Aqua Minerali. And can these drivers keep it together for the first lap. Looks like everyone is just keeping it safe for now. There's a Horning. Horning is running wide, and UK senses an opportunity, sends it down the inside at Variante Alta. Horning tries to go defensive. UK is forced to go outside onto the exit, and Envy and Kuberabi are having an exchange as well. Kuberabi falling down the order. Freeze also falling down the order as well.
Yeah, we got to see a couple of drivers in the midfield going off track completely as the AlphaTauri tumbles down the order in the likes of Arby Ferrello. Still in P11, he hasn't made much positions up just yet. Andre sets the fastest lap, dictating his pace, and he's up into the race lead as well. Picked it off Dub, but here he comes Dub. Down the inside, he dives into the corner, and up ahead retakes the race lead. Andre has to close that gap sooner than later because he's got Dishy hot on his tail, on his gearbox, who dives down the inside just like Dub did, and is sent into a spin as Big Man Joe takes P3.
Indeed, and Big Man Joe as well, while we were speaking, made a similar move onto Signig, if I'm right, and made up position into P2. But now Dishy, who was looking at a prospect of a P2 at the end of turn 4, is now all the way down in P13. Derb, who has managed to pull a second gap now, might be just comfortable to pull away even further and be out of the DRS range. Andre is pushing hard to stay within the range. Danny's closing in. Who's that?
UK and Horning, it seemed like there was an incident, could have been desync as we've seen before, but yeah, he's up ahead of Horning, and Envy will take that position off of Horning as we speak. The wheel to wheel as they come into Rivatsa. It's Horning somehow keeping the nose in front, but it's the Aston Martin that will pick off that position. Up into P6 goes Envy.
Indeed, and now immediately Kuberabi is on the back of Horning already, trying to line up a move on the Ferrari, but it looks like it's a little bit difficult to get a move on without the DRS just yet. But there you go, Freeze tries to make a move. RB Fellow now up into P9. Freeze is dropping down to P10.
Yeah, that was a beautiful overtake. A standard RB Fellow move on the main straight. We've seen that way too many times, and I love it every time we see it.
Yeah, sense a move coming in from Kuberabi. Is he going to send it down into Toza? No, he thinks better of it for now. But there are positions exchange at Toza. And he goes up the inside and takes the position away from UK. Dishy has taken the position away from Mr. Stark as well in the same corner. So these guys are pretty relentless in the sprint.
Yeah, UK has kept it in the midfield pretty well, I'd say, despite a few issues from what I saw earlier. But yeah, Envy's on a charge of his own. From the back all the way to the front, he is in P5 and still is going to keep on charging. Sector 2 goes yellow. I wonder if it's Dishy. It just might be he's had a little spin there and he'll be catching up to the pack.
Yeah,
not much to worry about.
Once again coming out of the Variante Alta, RB Fellow pounced on Kuberabi, who had a bad exit, and Kuberabi spins at Rivadza 1, and he's now down to P11. Up ahead, though, Sarthak, I think we have a change of lead coming in. Andre, is he going to go for the move? He's just 2 tenths behind. But no, he's still staying back behind for another second. Horning now has lost another position.
Almost overshot it into the gravel there, Andre. But yeah, the action in the midfield continues with the likes of Mr. Wex as well up ahead of Freeze. But yeah, let's stay on board. Perhaps the front runners, Danny, Joe, Big Man Joe is closing in on P2. And as I say that, Sicknig's tumbling down the order.
Indeed, that's I was just trying to go on board with Danny, but Sicknig lost it on the exit of Toza Happin, and he has paid the price. Now down to P8 he goes.
And we're only on lap number 4, Davin. Would you look at that?
Indeed, 7 more to go in this sprint race. It's gonna be a sprint, as it says. Shoot out for 11 laps, 7 to go, and looks like Andre has just fallen a little bit behind in terms of getting the DRS of Derb. But look at who is getting the opportunity this time around is Mr. Emilia himself, Big Man Joe, now within a second and gets the DRS onto the main straight. Envy just 2.5 seconds behind, has caught up and made up quite a bit of time there. Up to P4 he is so far. The Big Man Joe staying as close as he can. Andre trying to close down the gap to Derb to protect himself from Big Man Joe. It's turning out to be a 3-man fight up ahead. Can Envy join the battle?
Yeah, Envy sets the fastest lap too, so he's clearly charging as we've been mentioning for the past couple of minutes. But meanwhile, in the back of the field, it's a Mercedes threatened for position by the likes of Mr. Wex, perhaps. No, it's Mr. Stark who gets ahead of Mr. Wex after all, and will get ahead of Freeze as well. In a matter of couple of corners, Mr. Stark gets 2 positions, and they're left hanging at the back of the pack. Stark is on a charge on this outing of Bwoah Racing League.
Yeah, Freeze tried to have a look down the inside, poked his nose at the inside of Toza, but it was a closing gap that he can't go for. And up in front once again, looks like things are starting to close up again. Signic is getting pretty close to honing here into the Variante Alta, and he might want to just send it down the inside into Rivanza 1, but he would need the DRS to survive on the pit straight.
Yeah, he's holding off. We've seen that before, even in the last couple races this season. Sicknick holding off. He's not as aggressive as we've seen him in the last couple seasons. He's become more mature of a driver out on track. And on the main straight, he's got all the cards he'd need to pull off a move on the likes of Awning as he weaves to the left-hand side of the track, wheel to wheel for barely a second or so. He'll pick up that position up in a P7. Will he be threatened for it any longer? No, not in any way.
Not in any way, indeed. And up to P7, next up ahead is RB Ferrello, who has been running quite quietly so far, up into P6 already, and he might just have a company of Signic real soon. That's
Battles in the back of the field.
Indeed, that was Freeze who ran wide, and that has invited Mr. Stark to go through. Oh, Kubarabi spots the opportunity as well, tries to get a cutback into Toza. Can he send it down the inside once again? There's no gap. Oh, but look who is sending it. Is Dishy around the outside. And that's Mr. Stark, who has spun once again out of Toza. Yeah, Toza is catching on a lot of people today.
A 5-way battle now down to a 4-way battle. An unfortunate spin for Mr. Stark, who was well ahead of the pack in this scenario. But yeah, now it is Kubarabi. No, Freeze leading this pack. Barely half a second between all of these drivers at the back of the pack, while the front runners, there's barely a second's gap between them, and it's another spinning car. It's the Haas this time around. Kubarabi tumbles down the other second of the 5. Now there's only 3, and that gap is going beyond a second. Close enough.
Indeed, Variante Alta claiming his first victim there with the curbs launching him in the middle of the track. And now up ahead, those Arctic. Let's quickly have a look here. It might have, I thought for a moment there was a move coming in by Andre, but he's getting awfully close to Derp now. Into Toza, he's just sniffing on the rear of the Ferrari here.
Yeah, just 3/10 the gap, and Big Man Joe's not too far behind. I'd love for him to close the gap as well sooner than later. So on the main straight is where you'd expect usually for the move to be done. So Andre is going to bide his time. We've seen him do this even last time out in Australia. He was on the tail of Derp till the very end, and on his gearbox to get that move done in the perfect part of the track, forced Derp into a mistake and get it done. Mind you, though, this isn't the main race. This order they're fighting for is for the order of the race itself. And maybe Andre holds back. Maybe starting second might just work out for him once again in the main race. We've got 4 laps to see how this turns out.
Well, 1 extra point is what he will get if he starts in P1. So that might be an incentive for him. So Andre, as much as he wants to be a bit more tactical in the main race, he wants to be a bit more aggressive here, claim that 1 point, start on the front row and manage it out from there on. But yeah, the front 3 keep pulling away. Envy looks like he's struggling to closing the gap, but his pace is pretty consistent. He is managing the gap to the front 3. And I'd say starting P4 after starting from the back row here, it's not a bad thing, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I think he can put up quite a fight up in front starting from P4. And as you can already see, Big Man Joe's lost that position after a spin of sorts. I think he's lost position to 3 drivers through that corner, and he's threatened by 2 more in his rear view mirror. Coming up is a Haas and a Ferrari. But yeah, Envy up in a P3 already. So if you thought Envy's odds were good at P4, starting P4, it's going to be even better starting P3 right behind Andre and Dub.
Indeed, and well, with 4 laps to go at this point of time, tires might start to feel a bit second hand. It's up to the drivers. How can they manage it? Do they want to take the risk and push for another position? Do they want to just bring it home and then manage the full race later? But up in front once again, Andre now within DRS, low on battery though. So is Derp, but he's not making up that much of a advantage on there. But no, as I say that the gap is closing. It's come down from 7 tenths down to almost 2 tenths on the pit straight alone. So one more attempt. I think Andre is just sussing on the conditions here. He might just go for the move in the next one.
Yeah, it's always into sector 1 and at the exit of sector 1 there within this 3 tenths to 2 tenths gap. Andre closes in as much as he can and then somehow into sector 2 and out of sector 3. Derp's the one with the advantage and holds that race lead. Maybe Andre is looking at which corners Derp is taking a certain way, which corners are really where Derp's disadvantage lies, because as soon as you identify that as someone who's running second, that's clearly an advantage, something you can capitalize on in the main race for sure, right? Being in Andre's position, you'd be thinking that.
Indeed, Sarthak, exactly 100%. The following driver always has the advantage in terms of knowing where the front driver is making mistakes or is a little bit slow, and that helps them to set up a move. And looks like this time around Andre might have made a better middle sector here, because look at this. Out of Rivazza 2 is only 3 tenths behind. Derp with depleting battery just going under 15%. Andre now 6 tenths behind though. Can he make a move on the pit straight? It looks like straight line speed might be a bit of a premium for Andre today.
Yeah, he gets as close as he can, but not close enough. Derp still holding on to that in this penultimate lap of the sprint race of race number 4. The Emilia Romagna GP of Bwoah Racing League Season 6, and we find ourselves with UK and RB Ferrello, two of the drivers who started at the very back in the top 5, Dalvin.
Indeed, and RB Ferrello having his own little choo-choo train here of Big Man Joe Signick and Honing, who are fighting for that P5. Mind you though, only top 8 gets points for the sprint race. So this year onwards, well, they might have just given up for now, but they might as well bring it home. An extra position to start. I'd say that's a good way. Up in front once again, Sarthak. I think into the penultimate lap before it ends, Andre once again trying to go for a move on Derp. This time around, he's not as close as he was to Derp on the entry into Rivazza 1 even. But Kuberabi there in the meantime, lighting up the on the boards on purple there. But yeah, up ahead once again.
He's running P13 Kuberabi and he sets the fastest lap. But yeah, Andre is closing in much quicker this time around on Derp, and around the outside he's gonna weave side by side into the corner. They go, but Derp's still gonna have his nose in front and hold on to that race lead in this sprint race. Lap number 11 is the last lap, and seems like they are having contact. Somehow ghosting saves the pair, and Derp's gonna continue to hold on to the race lead. I'm surprised that wasn't an incident.
Yeah, very fortunate to avoid an incident there by the game, for odd reasons, one way or another. But Derp, I think, just had enough straight line speed to survive the attack and took the defensive line on the inside, which makes it pretty hard to overtake at the Tamburello chicane. It gets pretty tight on the entry and even tighter on the exit. So once again though, 3 tenths a gap. This time, can Andre send it into the Variante Alta? Will he want to send it, or will he want to go for a better exit and try to dive it down at Rivazza? Down behind, Big Man Joe is losing another position, and Honing takes charge of that immediately.
Yep. But yeah, they're coming out of Rivazza, Davin.
Indeed, and looks like Derp might have just done enough in these first 11 laps. And he will come across the line. No penalties, no shenanigans. Will come across the line to win the sprint race of Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Andre takes P2 and coming in close third after horrible qualifying. Envy will start P3 for the main race. UK will be P4. RB Ferrello, another one who started on the back row, gets P5. Signick, after a, I'll say subpar performance today, P6, I'd say third row of the grid is not too bad. Honing comes home in P7, will start exactly where he qualified in the sprint. Big Man Joe, he will have a bit of work to do in in the main race attack.
Spoken like a true coach, Dalvin. Very, very critical of Signick there. Very critical. Very critical.
Indeed. I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder too. But yeah, I think this is a sprint race for Big Man Joe to forget. Considering he had started P3, now down to P8. In the thickness of the action, you could say, at the start of the main race. But Andre, he waited and he watched Derp's every move through these 11 laps of the sprint race. At the start, he got the jump on Derp too. It's a matter of repeating that in the main race and holding on to that race lead. I think we're in for a banger of a race, as we are always in the Bwoah Racing League, with Derp and Andre on the front row.
Yep, and as we wait for Bwoah to cross the line, there he go. Finishes up P13 to round up the grid. No fastest lap point awarded in sprint though. So that will unfortunately will not help him out in any way or so. But it's a good way to send a message to your rivals out on track that, hey, I have the pace and I might be coming for you in the race. So there you go, top 8. As you can see, Derp and Andre, pretty much where they started. They will continue as they go. Envy in UK, RB Fairlow made up positions in the sprint race and have their work cut out for the main race. I wonder what's coming in the main race. Is there going to be rain? Is there going to be some weather intervention? And is there going to be some more safety cars to perhaps spice up the strategies and the choices that these drivers make? We're about to find out very, very shortly.
Yep. I hope there is a bit of action in the midfield like we saw in the sprint race itself, even in the back of the pack, Davin. Mind you, there were thick battles, really intensive battles for P9, P10, P11 and P12 and 13 driver grid, which is probably not the best. We always like a 20-man grid out on track in the Bwoah Racing League, but we'll make do with the 13 drivers out on track. And clearly, if we saw anything from the sprint race, even at the tail end of it, Bwoah setting the fastest lap, all 13 very competent, very capable of being on the podium today.
Indeed, and now we are immediately into the full race, the main race as we like to call it. And we are just waiting for the drivers to select their tire choices. And there you go, first one to jump onto the hards is Derp. And I wonder though if you can fire up those tires quick enough at the start and then hold on to the front position. Andre will mirror his strategy. So they're playing it safe, they're following each other in. I wonder if that's going to pay off. What's Envy going to do? We know he's likely to be doing opposite strategies of the rivals around him. I wonder if he's going to start on the mediums or even just go with the meme strat and starting on the softs in this game, which is not usually the advisable thing.
Yeah, we saw it in Australia, didn't we? He was on the softs and into turn 1, he was leading right off the bat. So he'll be hoping to do the same here. He did start P3 in Australia too, so maybe he's going to try it. But I'm a bit more, okay, bit of a change there. Turns out even UK and RB Ferrero on the HUDs.
Yeah, and I wonder, Sathik, if there is actually going to be some rain on the horizon, because some drivers have gone for the mediums. If the rain is indeed coming, well, this might be a good choice for the medium runners. They can make up the early positions, go for the inters when the rain arrives, and then ride out the wave. But if the rain stays out a little too, the rain comes a little too late, that might just be a little bit of a bummer for some of these drivers. And looks like my screen is bugged and I can't even get a tab out of this race director, Sathik. So you might just have to give me a moment and I'll be right back.
Yeah, it's just now you. Turns out it's me too. For the first time ever, I actually decided to look into the race director. Probably a mistake. Should have just stayed the way I usually do. But
Indeed.
regardless, I don't think anything changes this. Okay, how do we navigate through this?
And the best part is, Sathik, I can't even get out of the game.
You can't make this up. Try and get the race results back. I mean, sorry, the race back. But meanwhile, folks watching, we did see a Ferrari spinning at the start of the formation lap. Let's hope we can get back in time for the race.
All right, I'm gonna do something dangerous. Hopefully it works though.
I think this is the first, isn't it, Davin in the Bwoah Racing League? Both of us getting kicked out?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say we are getting kicked out. We're more of like locked into the session and we're not allowed to leave. That's a first, considering the game likes to kick us out.
Somehow, each season, the game manages to set a higher tier of disappointment, doesn't it?
Indeed, indeed. But well, along with those disappointment comes some good moments that we can enjoy from our drivers. That's the saving grace. And as we perform the good old Alt F4 and wait for the game to reload, Let us know your predictions, folks, in the chat. To the 24 of y'all watching, that must be a record for this week. And well, let us know who's gonna win this race. Who do you think will be the surprise performer for today? And we'll find out that really shortly. Hopefully, we are in before the formation lap is ending.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we will be 13 drivers out on track, folks. So pick one of them to win. Maybe we'll consider that for Roadrunner of the Day. Meanwhile, I need to get that poll out rather assertively, which we will from next race on for sure, as we head into the Emilia Romagna GP of the Bwoah Racing League Season 6.
Yep, I have a feeling I might have missed the start here, Sartek. So if you're in, you're gonna have to take it from the formation lab as you always like it. But we'll be joining you very shortly.
Yeah, and I am trying to get in as well.
Well, KDB in the chat though, in the meantime, has come up with a good prediction. I don't know who will win, but I guess that is going to be one win change for UK today. And there we go, folks. Here we are, immediately on to the race, and we have some action going on. Andre has taken the lead from Dub, and UK has gone up to P2. What a surprise there.
Yeah, we predicted that on Andre's front for sure. He was carefully watching Dub's move throughout the sprint race, and now right off the bat, he finds himself leading this race ahead of UK. That's a bit of an unexpected scenario. Let's hope KDB's prediction doesn't come true. Let's hope UK finishes with the same front wing he started with.
Yep, and another surprise for us while we loaded back in. Only 3 drivers starting on the medium tires, that being Dish in P5, Signig down in P8, and Mr. Stark down in P12. Everyone else on the hard tires, so they're gonna take a while to fire up, but these medium tires will be the choice to go for these early laps, and looks like there hasn't been much being done with that.
Yeah, and give me a moment. There we go. Okay, Andre leading this race ahead of UK. Dub Envy's held on to that P4 brilliantly, so that's great. Dishy finds himself up in a P5. He started at the back of the pack down the order after a dismal sprint race, so races aren't his favorite perhaps, or maybe it is, we'll find out. UK trying to keep that gap within half a second of Andre as he keeps moving left to right, side to side. Probably not like a roller coaster he'd like to. But in the back of the pack, RB Ferrello tumbling down the order a bit too early for his liking, I'd imagine. A spin for him as he comes down to P13 in the race, mind you, and not in qualifying.
Yeah, and that might have been collision between 2 or 3 drivers or even more heading out of the Vilnius chicane before the Toza happened there. So something have gone over there. Hopefully that doesn't go to the steward's room. In the meantime, I think we have quite a train up in front from P1 all the way down to P10 for Kuberabi. So gaps are starting to open up. UK is struggling to follow up with Andre in the DRS zone, but looks like he might have just tucked in just in time for that DRS. It won't be available for this lap, perhaps lap onwards.
Yeah, with that gap unraveling itself up in front. Meanwhile, at the back of the pack, Kuberabi within 4/10 of the likes of Mr. Stark as he heads into Rivatsa. But the action might just ensue up in front. Andre gets the fastest lap of the race on lap number 3, and Kuberabi trailing behind Mr. Stark and sent into a spin.
Oh, that is a wing change coming for him. Thankfully, though, pit lane is just right on the right side of him immediately there, so he can jump in immediately. That was going to be such a beautiful move if it was pulled off, but Kuberabi ran a little too wide on the exit.
Yep. Back to the midfield where Big Man Joe charges on to take that position off of Horning with just 3/10 between the pair. Sicknig a whole second off of Big Man Joe, and up in front Dub closing in on the likes of UK as they go through sector 2. Hot on his tail, UK better be looking at his rearview mirrors.
Indeed, and coming out of Aqua Minerali, looks like Dub is somehow managing to keep up. NB is also there charging on to Dub, so it's gonna be a 3-way fight here for now. A lot of pressure on UK, a lot of pressure on Derb as well, because he has to attack and he has to defend, which is not the easiest thing to do while you're racing out here. DRS will be available for use this lap onwards. So the first one to get a taste of it is Derb on UK. Will he make the move immediately and go after Andre? We're about to find out very shortly as Derb activates the DRS, blasts the speed down the straight, and UK is also defending a little hard there. Trying to take the defensive line into turn 1. He goes the inside. Derb goes around the other. Can he make it though? Can he make it? UK tries to squeeze him out, and there's a bit of contact. Both of them run wide, and that's Envy. He goes up into P2. UK and Derb collide.
Yeah, I was mentioned Dishy's claim to fame was to take that pass along with Envy up at a P3, but he missed out by just a bit. He got sent out of track, and that's contact between now Dishy and UK by the looks of it. Might have been desync as well. Regardless, they're side by side right now with Dishy's nose up in front. UK trying his best to fend off the Alpha Tauri, but in vain. That attempt goes. Dishy up in a P4, UK down to P5.
Indeed, and the first words that came out of my word when Envy made an overtake, I was gonna say, but here comes Envy, but it just crossed my mind at the wrong time, and hopefully we get another moment of that as Envy is now trying to break the DRS of Derb and chase down Andre. UK still within a second. He might just want to go back for the P4 here.
Yeah, UK went completely wide into the entrance of Sector 3, but he's hard on Dishy's tail. But mind you, he's got company now. Big man Joe. He's past Horning. Now he wants another position, and he can see it right in front of him on the main straight as he comes. He's within a second. He's probably not going to get the move done, but UK will on Dishy around the outside. They stay side by side. No contact. Keep it clean, boys. And it looks like they did keep it clean, but it's Dishy who holds on to P4, and UK is going to have to fend off Big Man Joe as he comes charging for that position of his.
Indeed, and it's starting to heat up in the lower parts of the upper parts of the midfield here, I will say. Derb doesn't look like he has the pace at the start here. Oh yeah, he runs wide, and that just means Dishy will take the P3. No imitations needed, and that medium tire is working so well for Dishy right now, up into P3 already.
Dishy's finding it difficult to hold on to that podium position because Derb's out on his tail as well. But somehow he doesn't overshoot it, breaks incredibly, parks the car perfectly into that corner, arguably fending off not just Derb, but the likes of putting him into trouble too. UK and Big Man Joe make the pass on Derb. Derb's gonna have a lot to say about that move by Dishy.
Indeed, but Derb himself made a mistake on the exit of Aku Minerali, going on to the exit curb, which ruined his momentum and lost all the positions. Down to P6 he goes. Right behind him his teammate, who I don't think will put up too much of a fight. Up in front, Dishy now has to fend off 4 drivers behind him.
Andre sets the fastest lap time as he continues to lead this race, and on the main straight, DRS for 5 cars by the looks of it, with UK on the tail of Dishy for the second time out in the last 2 laps. Around the outside he goes. Dishy overshoots it by just so much, and it might just be a repeat because Big Man Joe takes 1 position. Derb to follow as well. UK is left with the short end of the stick down in P6. Dishy somehow holding on to P3. My oh my, on lap number 6, we have quite the action out on track.
Oh, and he almost ran into the back of Derb into Toza, but managed to keep it out of the way. UK, I must give him some praising though, because he made an attempt around the outside, tried to go for the cutback on the exit of temporary chicane, but that did not work out as Dishy just left him enough space, but not enough to take the corner as he wanted. This time, Big Man Joe will be getting the taste of DRS to overtake Dishy. Can one of these drivers overtake Dishy, or is Dishy going to be holding on to this position just a little longer?
Yeah, I mean, Dishy fended off Derb. Can he fend off Big Man Joe? I think he can. I mean, the way he's driving, I'm pretty sure they'll have their 2 cents to give this rookie of Bwoah Racing League at the end of this race. But right now, he's doing his job. He's fending them off pretty well, and it's playing into guess whose favor? Envy, Andre, you know. They don't have Derb breathing down their throat. They don't have Derb on their gearbox. They don't have Big Man Joe. They don't have UK either. So this midfield battle Dishy's continuing to promote is playing into the hands of the front runners.
Indeed, and I think there's a car going off track, and that is Envy from P2. Now he drops all the way down, and what's happening there? There's another collision going on at the exit of temporal chicane. Sicknick is out, reversing onto the track once again, trying to be safe on the entry there. Mr. Vex goes through RB Fellow, soon to follow. who might have had an incident of his own there.
Yeah, a bit of context there. I think there was an incident between Big Man Joe and Sicknick. Big Man Joe's missing an end plate, so he'll be headed into the pits. I'm sure of that. But Envy, we were just talking about how Dishy's playing into Envy and Andre's favor. Clearly, you know, open track for them. Envy can close in on Andre, but turns out Envy spun on his own. And he's down in a P6. Dishy finds himself P2. He says, "Thank you very much." He has a huge feet up in front of him. He has to close that 7-second gap if he stands a chance at battling it out with Andre. But he's got two cars still hot on his tail, Derp and UK.
Yeah, and this time around, I think Dishy is running out of juice on his battery to defend any more than he wanted. Derp, who still has quite a bit of battery left, UK as well. But looks like Derp is having a little bit of a bad exit on from Rivazza, so that's not gonna give him any shot to make a move down into the Tamburello chicane, but he gets pretty close. 4/10 thanks to DRS, he has closed the gap. Big Man Joe will call it a quits on the hard tires and into the pits. He will go for a wing change, I'm presuming here, and the medium tires to go till the end. But that's not gonna work well for him with his strategy now thrown out of the window.
It might just be desync, or perhaps UK did everything he could in Sector 1 to make this happen. Now he's 3/10 within Derp. Something I didn't expect on this particular lap. But yeah, he continues to rubber band due to desync out on track with Derp in P3. Podium positions he returns to. 7 positions Dishy's made up, and he's running P2 now, ahead of 2 very competent drivers in the league.
Indeed, and a few more battles going down as well, and Envy just made a move on Horning to retake P5 for now, and RB Fellow has caught up to Signick. Signick's medium tires starting to feel the edge, and the hard tires are coming into play more and more as the laps go on. Back in front though, once again, can Derp go for a move this time around? Third time might be the charm. Oh, red light up, blinking Sartek, there you go. Dishy is pretty low on battery, and here comes Derp. He will go around the outside. Can he make the move this time around the outside? He's just not alongside enough, but squeezes his way through, takes the curb, takes a bit of a hit on the suspension, but through he goes, retakes P2, and UK tries to send it as well. Dishy once again trying to defend his position, stays in P4 just for a little longer.
Beautiful defense by the likes of Derp there, and Dishy now primed for the taking of UK as well on his gearbox. UK breathes down, and UK will have to stay behind Dishy for a couple of more corners. Within 2/10 he remains, and yeah, with Dishy with no ERS, he's clearly at a disadvantage. Derp is pulling away, UK out on his tail. It's a matter of a couple of corners before UK gets that position off of him.
Indeed, so close to hitting the rear of Dishy as well. UK runs wide, and he spins on the exit of Aqua Minerali. Let's ride on board with perhaps Envy to see what's happening on about Mr. Wax. His teammate comes around, and looks like UK has resumed the race.
And that is why you don't call a move too soon. So Daxter, clearly UK down the order. As I said, it's a matter of corners. He's going to get a position. I have been proven wrong. Envy up in a P4, quite the climb he's made, and Mr. Wex up in a P6. Meanwhile, at the back of the pack, Big Man Joe and Mr. Stark having their own tussle.
Indeed, yeah. Big Man Joe now.
I think it was between Horning and Mr. Stark.
Oh yeah, it was between Horning and Mr. Stark, as they have lost quite a bit of positions there. Big Man Joe, who was not in harm's way, tries to salvage something from this race, which has been ruined strategically. But perhaps the safety car might just be the thing he needs. Yellow flag up
Sector
in front.
1.
That's UK once again spinning out of the Tamburello chicane.
Front wing looks okay. I don't know what just happened there then.
Indeed, perhaps just a little spin, a little too throttle happy. Tires are getting hot perhaps, and he's falling into the clutches of his teammate right now. Big Man Joe with the fresh tires sets the fastest lap for now. 19.3 on the board.
Yeah, we're bound to have a DRS train in the midfield soon enough, because Sicknick is catching up as well with RB Ferrero hot on his tail. They're still above a second's gap away from the likes of the Williams drivers. But yeah, Envy's charge after that spin is quite commendable. He's in P4, and he's got Dishy next up. He's got about 4.5 seconds to close in. It's still lap number 11, so close, so early into this race. We haven't even reached the halfway mark of this race.
Indeed, 11 laps was what we needed in the sprint for some action. Looks like it's dying down a little bit for now. But pit stop space, it's where it's gonna get interesting a little more. At this point, tires are gonna start to wear more and more as these drivers try to push for more positions. UK has managed to pull out of his teammates DRS, and he's trying to catch up to Envy, who is just 4 seconds up, 8 seconds up ahead the road.
And yeah, Derp must be thinking, after all that chaos, he finds himself up in a P2 to think what would have happened if that chaos didn't unravel itself. And as I say that, Sicknig closing in on the likes of Mr. Wex, RB Ferrello to follow. So that's a three-way battle we have in our hands. Danny Joe, Big Man Joe, sets the fastest lap of the race so far.
Yeah, and well, he's still charging on, hoping to salvage something. Derb, as you mentioned, somehow finds himself in P2, albeit 10 seconds behind the lead. Not ideal, as he would like to say it, but there's 2/3 of the race to go, and 10 seconds is doable, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, surely enough. And that is the shortest gap between drivers currently in the midfield, within half a second of each other, as the front runners have over 2 seconds of gap between them. But yeah, the driver who capitalized on the start the most, Dishy, clearly now running in podium positions. It's a matter of ensuring he keeps it that way till the
Mr. Wax,
very
their
end.
starter gets a little loose on the exit of Rivazza, and that might invite Signic to go for the overtake. Signic, who's really running low on battery as well. He's not really having that much of a punch out of the corner as well, but he tries to go around the outside, perhaps a cutback as UK tried. Can he get a move this time around? No, says the medium tires, which are looking like they're done, and that has invited RB Ferrello, who may want to go on the inside, but no, he holds on for another corner here.
Horning takes the fastest lap, and RB Ferrello, I'm surprised how he didn't attempt that move. Perhaps a bit too aggressive for his liking. Regardless, he's kept it clean. He just wants it to unravel as you expect it to between Sicknig and Mr. Wex. Perhaps a bit of chaos, and he says thank you very much and gets 2 positions in a matter of a corner, in a matter of an incident that unravels right in front of him.
Indeed. And well, it's looking like it's starting to slow down a little bit. The gaps up in front has stabilized. Dub is kind of reeling in on Andre with about a 10th or 2 a lap. Dishy has managed to, held his own surprisingly after challenging first team. But let's get back to the action here. Signic once again tries to line up a move on Mr. Wax. Doesn't wait for it, goes for the inside into Rivazza 1 and 2. That has put off Mr. Wax slightly, and coming out of Rivazza 2, looks like with DRS, can Signic get a move on? Can RB Fellow go for a move? Looks like he wants to go for a move instead, and down the inside he goes. RB Fellow, will he make this 2 in one corner? He makes it 2 moves into turn 1, and that's a synchronized spin from Mr. Wax and Signic at temporal chicane.
At least this time around, we got a prediction, right? RB Ferrello did indeed say thank you very much, and they ended up spinning right behind him. Regardless, RB Ferrello on a climb of his own, P6, and next up is UK for the picking.
Indeed, and looks like RB Ferrello already starting to catch up corner by corner here. Won't be long before he catches up Signic, who had the spin. I wonder if that's a collision with Mr. Wax earlier, and either way, he will want to get rid of these medium tires and go on to the hards till the end. The question is, does he wait for a safety car or does he go for the strategy now?
And yeah, up in front, Dishy holding on to that podium position, but look at that gap between Envy and Dishy. It's down to under a 2-second gap, and it's only reducing and reducing and reducing. Sector 2 and 3 light up yellow. Is that an Aston Martin and a Williams, perhaps?
Yeah, it looks like Mr. Stark who's getting lapped there, so no harm done to Mr. Wax for now. He will continue. He has lost a lot of ground to Signic though. 3 seconds. Signic, there you go. Into the pits he will go, getting rid of these medium tires. Very careful into the pits. Do not want to be speeding and picking up a 5-second here. And he will be the first of the medium runners to get rid of those tires. Onto the hards he will go till the end. Dishy now is coming under attack from Envy. Envy has managed to close up to almost a second here. I think he might just be within DRS at the end of this lap.
And as the race ensues, Andre, what a comfortable lead he's built up. About 9.5 seconds. It's been running in that range for quite some time now, for about 4 laps or so. The gap between Andre and Dub. He clearly learned a lot from that sprint race, that 11-lap outing. right before the main race itself. And he's put to work. He's put to proper work. He's got clear air in front of him, a clear track. Yeah, you couldn't ask for anything more. And as I say that, Envy couldn't ask for anything more. He's now down to a seconds gap to Dishy as his teammate racks up a 3-second time penalty at the back of the pack. He'll be trying to ensure no more penalties come onto the table to his name. But Envy closing in. Now he's going to be half a seconds gap closer to Dishy in this lap.
Yeah, it's not ideal though for Envy because he wants to get past Dishy as soon as he could, and then close up onto Dub and perhaps maybe a long shot close up on Andre. But looks like getting stuck behind Dishy for another lap won't help his cause. So it is race critical for Envy to get past Dishy on this lap. Is Dishy going to pull into the pits? Perhaps we might just find out at the end of this lap. But as we speak, corner by corner, these hard tires on Envy against Dishy's medium tires are just proving themselves. These hards are the tires to be on at this point of time. And coming out of Aquamarine Rally, looks like Envy had a little moment there, still managing to keep within a second.
And yeah, that battle is primed to be viewed as they enter into Rivatsa 1. I hope I got that right. The penultimate corner ahead of the final corner of this magnificent track. It is Envy versus Dishy, as there is a bit of a battle going on in the midfield as well. What a move. Dishy gets into the pits and Envy gets the podium position rather easier than he had expected it to be.
Indeed, and what happened there back there, Sarthak, it was RB Fellow who lost it, I believe, on the exit of Aquamarine Rally, and Freeze has retaken that P6. But immediately RB Fellow now on the back of Freeze. He might want to get back that P6, and there you go, up into P5 once again. But he has lost a lot of time to UK up in front. The gap now 7 seconds when it was just 3.5 before.
Yeah, the front runners gap also extending beyond 10 seconds for just a bit of a moment there. We're in the halfway mark of this race, and it's Freeze now charging on to RB Ferrello in the midfield, and now within half a second as well, much similar to what we saw from Envy on the likes of Dishy, who's come out in P7.
Yeah, and a bit of clear air, a lot of clear air up ahead for him. 8 seconds is the gap, but these hard tires will take a bit of a time to warm up. Mr. Wax, who's on all the hard tires, is closing up on him. Will Dishy stay ahead long enough? Looks like his tires are coming into temperature already, as Dub from P2 on the hard tires gets rid of them into the pits. He will go. That's quick. And what's happened there, RB Fellow?
He just spun by himself yet again. Freeze, much like Envy, gets a position he thought he'd have to fight for rather quite easily.
Yeah, and look who's right behind RB Fellow right now. It is Dishy. So RB Fellow would not want to be ruining his teammates' race. Perhaps it's time for RB Fellow to dive into the pits as well. But no, he stays out. Dishy is starting to catch up. Dub, who was in the pits, now comes out in clear air right between Freeze and RB Fellow. So this is gonna be a crucial lap for Dub to nail the out lap if he wants to have any chance of catching up to Andre at the end.
Yeah, he's desperately trying to warm up those tires right out the pits. And mind you, Freeze drives a Mercedes, also the team Andre's driving for. So maybe a bit of team play to hold off Dub as Andre heads into the pits soon enough. Perhaps, but
that 10-second, like you said, is definitely comfortable enough for Andre, and he reacts immediately without waiting. So it's as predicted. These two are just going to mirror each other's strategy, and Andre will retake the lead quite easily. Looks like it. Will Envy stay up for another lap? Yes, looks like he wants to at least lead a lap in this race before he does his own pit stop.
Yeah, I was bringing up team play. We saw a beautiful iteration of that in the midfield. RB Ferrello staying clear of Dishy as he continues his charge up the order. Well done, RB Ferrello, for that. And Andre comes out in P2 ahead of UK, and he's got his teammate Freeze very close behind, about 10 or 12 seconds behind him.
Yeah, but here comes Dub down the inside, this time on fresher tires here. Dub makes it super easy into turn 1 with DRS, getting the line on the inside with fresh tires, softer tires as well. and up into P4 he goes. He's now trying to pull away from Freeze, and looks like he hasn't made up that much of a position to Andre.
And yeah, that gap will keep on reducing between Derp and UK as he continues his charge. Envy holding on to that race lead. I'm pretty sure he's expecting a safety car, a virtual safety car, something to play in his favor. Perhaps it will unravel itself soon enough. We are on lap number 18, folks, of the Bwoah Racing League Season 6. We got Envy leading this race ahead of Andre, who's led most of this race so far. I mean, there's Derp down in P4, who started this race on pole position, just now set a purple sector 2. So he's on a charge of his own, made a second within a lap, and UK in the mix of the top 3.
Indeed, I think UK and Envy have the same question in mind. Will there be a safety car to bail us out and get a cheap pit stop onto the medium tires? Derp immediately on the case, already sets a 17 for the fastest lap of the race so far. Now up ahead for him, 6 seconds will be UK. That will be easy picking, I believe. But Andre still holds on to the track position.
RB Ferrello into the pits he goes. He's down to P8. He's lost 3 positions in this race, and he's going to continue to lose a few more as he comes out on fresh set of mediums. He's clearly taking a page perhaps out of Derp's book, but it's a no-brainer at this point. The mediums will work, and behind the wheel is RB Ferrello. I expect quite the charge from him in the next 10 laps of this race.
Yeah, and Signic, who did an undercut, I wouldn't even call it an undercut because he's on a different strategy, gets past RB Fellow in the pit. So RB Fellow now 6 seconds only behind Signic, with about 13 laps to go. Softer tires for him. Can he make a charge for P8 or P9 even?
A safety car would help the likes of Envy, Derp, sorry, not Derp, Envy, UK, Freeze, Mr. Wex as well. All on 18 lap hold, soon enough to become 19 lap hold hard tires.
Yeah, and these hard tires are surprisingly resilient around here. They can go pretty long. I wonder if they are even considering the soft tires towards the end of this race, which is definitely a possibility. As we have a little bit of a yellow in the middle sector, and that is
that could
not
have been
Envy.
Mr. Stark.
Yeah, that
could have been Mr. Stark out on track. Yeah. Freeze and Mr. Vex pit. Freeze and Mr. Vex have called it a day on those hard tires, and they have headed into the pits. Big Man Joe will get a double jump in position out on track. Up in a P6 he goes, and Freeze will be the first one out on the mediums with the fresh medium tires in that pair.
Oh no!
Right out the pits. He goes into a spin, and Signic will say thank you very much for that position. Freeze. Up in a P7 he goes.
Yeah, a costly spin coming out of the pits on the cold tires here. Freeze now down to P8. Signic will take that like taking candy from a baby, but Sartak, it's the soft tires against the mediums against the hard. So Freeze, despite losing that early on, he might just have the advantage of the tire compound to his advantage at the end here. And
I don't get what happened to Mr. Wex though. He took an awful lot of time in the pits, didn't he?
Yeah, perhaps a slow stop of turning in or getting the clutch on the release. But yeah, looks like UK, well, he has called it as well. He will have the freshest mediums as of now to resume the race till the end, and he will be comfortably out in P4. Big Man Joe looks like he might just jump UK on the exit. Can he latch on to UK on the exit here? It's gonna be very close from Big Man Joe here. He will need a safety car as well if anyone wants to save his race. Looks like UK just comes out a few seconds behind Big Man Joe on this all medium tires. Big Man Joe will hold on for a few more laps, I think.
So the number of gamblers out on track is reduced down to just one. The man leading this race, Envy on 20 lap old hards. Perhaps not a gamble if you think about it, but regardless, with the man on the charge of his own, Andre, along with Derp to follow, he's primed for the picking in the next couple of laps. So the last time I said that, a lot of people spun, and Envy goes into the pits.
Indeed, and looks like safety car may not be coming out for him yet. Yeah. So he will go into the pits. Medium tires will take him till the end. Fresher tires might just help him to up his pace a little bit against Andre and Derp, who will undoubtedly will take P1 and 2 for now, but can Envy make some work on these fresher tires? 6 laps, 7 laps fresher tires than Derb's medium, so that is going to be 5 laps, correct? Correction there. 5 laps fresher tires than Derb. Can he make a charge? Late one, 10 seconds is the gap between Andre and Derb, and a further 10 seconds between Derb and Derb and Envy. My bad, there's a fumble my words. Dishi looks like he's in a comfortable P4 right now.
10 seconds between Dup and Andre. Envy and Dup as well. The gap remains 10 seconds, 10 laps on the board. And that fight for P1 is on now. Clearly, with fresh set of tires, we can expect Envy closing in as well on the likes of Dup. 3-second time penalty for horning Dup's teammate at the back of the pack. Unfortunate for him, he's not having the best of outings in this season of the Bwoah Racing
let's
League.
hold and thought, because UK here into Piratella with the fresher tires, goes down the inside of Big Man Joe, takes P5 away. Big Man Joe on those old medium tires from pretty much early parts of the race due to wing damage on the hard tires now is really compromised here. What a bum it has been for him, isn't it? Because he had shown great amount of pace in the sprint race and in this main race as well, but the little incident pretty much just ruined his strategy.
What could be the play for Big Man Joe? He's got a 12-second gap to Sicknick, who's the one running behind him, who will probably hold off the rest of the pack for as much as he can. But it's Freeze hot on Sicknick's tail as I say that. So how long can he fend off the likes of Freeze, RB Ferrello and Mr. Wex? Clearly Freeze half a second's gap now to Sicknick, and he's coming along the main straight. This is the overtaking opportunity he'd hoped for, and as the ERS is being deployed on Freeze's front, Sicknick's left hanging a sitting duck out in front. He'll get picked off as he comes alongside of him, and up into P7 he goes, Freeze.
Yep, fresher mediums against older hards, no competition there. Freeze making it easy despite spinning coming out of the pit lane much earlier. 4-second gap reduced to nothing in about a lap or two, and immediately he's already pulling away. Next up for RB Ferlo will be Sicknick itself. So it's starting to look like it's going downhill for Sicknick from here on. It's a matter of time and a matter of skill if he can hold on to this position. Satev, like you asked earlier, what's going to save Big Man Joe's race? I'd say it's a safety car.
Just might. 8 laps. We got 8 laps left in this race. We've seen races in Bwoah Racing League become a bit more hectic come the last 5 to 3 laps of the race itself. 3 to 5 laps of the race itself. You can already see the gaps going beyond 2 seconds for the most part. The shortest gap by the looks of it is between Sicknick and Freeze, which will extend even more. RB Ferrello will be closing in soon enough. Meanwhile, at the back of the pack, Cupid RB on a charge of his own for that 11th position on Horning.
Yeah,
and Andre with a clear track. Is Big Man Joe into the pits?
Indeed, and he's not waiting for a safety car anymore, looks like it, because those medium tires were looking like they were done, and he will go on to a set of softs. Comes out in P10. Can he make some work on the soft tires for the remaining 8 laps? Perhaps a P6 is on the horizon if he gets this right.
The only other driver to come out on softs this race was Mr. Stark, and it didn't quite work out for him. But mind you, he's a bit of a rookie in Bwoah Racing League and to the game by the looks of it. Regardless, Big Man Joe, what can he do on the softs? A position, maybe 5, maybe throw in a safety car. Who knows what's going to happen? We're on lap number 25, folks. Andre leads this race as he was for the most part of this brilliant race we've been having, ahead of Dub, who started on pole position, who's ahead of Envy, who's had a spin. Quite a adventurous race so far, and he's probably going to continue to have one.
Yeah, I wonder what would have been the outcome if Envy and Dub had kept it clean in the early parts of the race. Looking at their pace, they are pretty similar pace running with Andre, and that would have been a 3-way battle, I'd say, till the end of the race. Dishy as well, commendable job so far, held his own on the first stint, held off the likes of UK, the likes of Dub and Envy as well. Might be wrong there, but he did a stellar job to hold on to the positions early on, picked off some positions due to drivers making mistakes up in front, and now runs in a comfortable P4. Penalties are stacking up though.
Yeah, but there's still 7 laps, 6 to 7 laps left, and RB Ferrello now within half a second of Sicknig for that P7 position he's been eyeing for a while now. Much similar to the likes of Derp on Dishy, we find ourselves now roles reversed, perhaps RB Ferrello, Alpha Tauri on another car.
Yeah, and while we're watching that, I'm also keeping my eye on the gap between Envy and Dev, which has started to come down quite significantly, only less than 8 seconds the gap, which is showing that Dub's medium tires now are starting to lose pace compared to Envy's 5 lap. Oh, that's RB Fellow. Oh no, not again.
Again,
Oh,
third
boy.
time this race, a spin on his own, RB Ferrello. It's just not working out for him. He loses a position for Mr. Wex, and he has a charging Big Man Joe to worry about now.
Indeed, on the fresher soft tires as well. And only 3 seconds to go, RB Fellow. I think he can hold on to P9 or 10, but that's not going to help his case for now. Big Man Joe, he's not looking like he's going any faster either. Can he set a faster step though? That's yellow.
That's Mr. Stark. That is Mr. Stark. Wiped out in Sector 1. Shouldn't cause a hindrance. He's down into P13. He will be lapped perhaps more than just once by a couple of the front runners soon enough. But yeah, RB Ferrello, it's cost him dearly, these 3 spins.
Indeed, and well, I wonder if he kept it clean as well, he would have been up there fighting for likes of P4 and 5. And that's a Haas off into the gravel at the temporary chicane. That is Cuba Abi. Oh, not a good day for him, isn't he?
Not at all. Not at all for some of these drivers out on track. But surprisingly enough, Big Man Joe not closing that gap to RB Ferrero as fast as you'd think.
Yeah, I'd imagine the soft tires would be giving him a bit more pace. But I wonder if he has overheated the tires or he's just, taking it safe till the end. Only time will tell if he has some more pace in reserve. But in the meantime, the gap between Envy and Derp Sartak, as I said, is starting to come down even more, but not enough. 6 laps to go. 6.8 is the gap. Maybe, just maybe, we might get a last lap overtaking attempt by Envy. But he has 3 seconds to his name, which is not going to help his case either against Derp.
Yeah, 3 seconds for Cuba Rubby, as you say that as well, down in P12. That's going to be a hindrance, but not as such, clearly, because Mr. Stark has penalties of his own down into P13. Huge gap to Cuba Rubby. But yeah, if Envy wants to go pedal to the metal, now's a good time. He's got about 4 laps left, if I'm not wrong. Yep, we've got about 4 to 5 laps left, and he's got a 6-second gap, just over a 6-second gap, to close in on the likes of Derp. ERS not in his favor, but clearly even for Derp, it isn't Sector 2 lights up yellow.
That's Horning.
I think it was a bit of a moment for Horning. Yep.
Yeah, indeed, coming out of Tosa, had a little moment there, perhaps a spin, but back onto the racetrack he goes real quick. So no issues there for him for now. But Sartak, look at who's coming back for P4. It is UK now chasing down Dishy. On this alternate strategy that they are running. Dishy, who started on the mediums, now on the hard tires. UK started on the hards, now on the medium tires. These two strategies are converging. Dishy with a 3-second penalty. The gap has come down more than a second in the past lap alone, and UK will be closing in. Can he close down the gap even more? Can he keep it clean? That's the more important thing, because if UK gets a penalty now, it invites Dishy to defend even harder for the P4.
Yeah, it's almost like some of these drivers are slowly waking up. Big Man Joe's gap, 3.3 seconds last lap, now down to 1.4 seconds or so. This lap to RB Ferrello, and he's on the sauce, mind you. UK has a nasty exit out of a particular corner in Sector 2. Apologies for not knowing which corner that is. Regardless, he is on a charge, but that gap hasn't got moved anywhere out of the 3.5 second range. Same with Big Man Joe down in P10. And up in front though, Envy now 5.5, just over 5.5 seconds gap to Dub.
Indeed, 4 laps to go. Looks like he is closing in at a rate of a second a lap. Is that enough? With the number of laps to go, looks like he might just fall short with the penalty on his name. Unless something terribly happens or a meteor falls up in front. Looks like Envy will be settling in for P3. Oh, a little bit of a slide there. Power slide coming out of Toza. He is really pushing for the gap there. He is really pushing.
Yeah, he's He's giving it his all, clearly, as you'd expect, but it went against him there, and it's over a 6-second gap now. And yeah, he's got a bit more work to put in.
Yeah, Big Man Joe now, Sartek on the pit straight, has caught up to RB Fairlow. Crucially, gets the DRS as well. RB Fairlow just holds on a bit further. But this precious soft tires might just be the thing Big Man Joe need to follow through this lap and make a move. Perhaps into the middle sector. An unconventional spot, but is definitely possible with these tires.
Yeah, Big Banjo's half-second gap is going to remain the same, and I expect a move coming into the next lap, as anyone would. Back to UK, who's trimmed that gap down to 2.5 seconds now to Dishy.
Indeed, and knowing UK, he would probably want to settle this out on track just in case this 3 seconds get removed. So it's always good to go for the positions while you can, and looks like UK is immediately on the case here. 2.5 seconds down to 2.2. Now there's a bit of a yellow going on in the middle sector. That is Mr. Wex coming out of the Variante Alta and loses a bit of ground to RB Fairlow and Big Man Joe. So looks like Big Man Joe not that close to RB Fairlow coming out of Rivazza 1 and 2. So he might just hold on this position for a while longer, RB Fairlow.
Yeah, and UK's gap, 2 seconds, still a solid 2 seconds gap. He's got about 2 laps left.
Indeed,
Huge feat to pull off.
2 and a bit laps to go. If he can close up, he might even go for the overtake. Perhaps if he wants to stay behind and keep it safe, that's another option that he can entertain. But in the meantime, P8 is being a hot contest right now. 3 drivers without penalties for now. Mr. Vex, RB Fellow, and Big Man Joe, all on different strategies here. Looks like they might just have a bit of a dogfight here for the wooden spoon. P8, you still get a decent amount of points, but we might just see some overtake come at the end.
Yeah, UK is using a bit of his ERS to ensure he's got closed in a bit of the gap on the main straight, and he's got Dishy up ahead now within 2 seconds gap, and up ahead Envy within 5 seconds. Not going to be enough. Completely off track goes, who is that? Is that Mr. Stuck again?
It is Kuber Abi who has actually gone a little bit wide there. Yeah, okay. But down in P12 he's comfortably there.
Now back to the midfield, Alvin. We are on the penultimate lap, mind you. But Big Manjo within a second of RB Ferrello, who also happens to be within half a second of Mr. Wex.
Yeah, and well, I think RB Ferrello will be happy to see. Well, I'll have to hold that thought on, because Satek, guess who has got a 3-second penalty? It is UK who picked up a warning, and that means 3 seconds is added to his name. So he has to get this done out on track here. 1 and a bit of lap to go. Will he get within DRS?
That's a white Ferrari? Horning? Yeah.
It is horning, and Dub is coming up right up behind to him, and crucially, no one gets impeded.
Yeah, it's the final lap. This is where you can expect a move or two in the midfield. They have to get it done now. And right now is the moment RB Ferro will be hoping to close that gap. And as you can already see, ERS being deployed by both drivers, RB Ferrello and Big Manjo, trying their best to close in on one another. And RB Ferrello goes a bit wide. It's opportunity for Big Manjo, who's fumbled it somehow and maybe got a nasty exit himself. But Andre, what a race he's driven as he enters Sector 3. As battles continue to unravel right behind him, a clean race so far till the very end as he comes around Rivazza 2, and the final corner at that. It is the first win of the season. Andre wins the Emilia GP, or the Emilia Romagna GP of Bwoah Racing League Season 6 ahead of Dub, who started on pole position, has to settle for P2 ahead of Envy, who will wrap up the podium up in front regardless of that 3-second time penalty.
Indeed, and Dishy now will be the next one to come across the line. We'll be thankful that UK has a 3-second as well. So well done to Dishy as well, who has just has to navigate the last 2 corners, and it looks like he will be doing that just nicely. Comes across the line for P4. Well done to the rookie. Takes P4. and UK will come home in P5. But yeah,
This-
a bit of a battle still going on. Satek, we have our eyes on Mr. Vex, RB Fellow and Big Man Joe. Will they make a last minute lunge into any of these corners? Big Man Joe is pretty close to RB Fellow's gearbox, coming out of coming out of Variante Alta into Rivatsa 1. Are they close enough? Everyone's blinking on battery. No one has enough. But I think Mr. Vex has done just enough to survive this attack for the last moment. RB Fellow will be coming across the line for P9. Big Man Joe, oh, what a race has it been for him. Will take P10 after eventful race, I would say. Good pace, but just unlucky with incidents. Freeze gets driver of the day.
Second race this season for him, and he manages to nab driver of the day, having picked up most positions across the board. Big Man Joe, topsy-turvy race for him, just as much as it was for RB Ferrello in the midfield. 3 spins for RB Ferrello, none for UK, but that 3-second time penalty at the very penultimate lap, or last lap at that, costed him a P4 position. Dishy holds on to P4. Top 5 finish for him. I think it's the first, having run in the top 5 for so much, being a rookie driver in this league. He finally ends up in the top 5 after all. But this man, Andre, a race he led for the most part. Envy tried to gamble it halfway through, or just over halfway through, but couldn't get it his way. We're going to see a lot of this, won't we, Dalvin, between Andre and Dup. P1 and P2 now, and we're going to see a lot more to come.
Indeed, and I think we have seen the evidence as well from race 1 itself. Now continuing into race 4 here in Imola, these two cannot be separated unless by their own mistakes or an incident on track, which is exactly what happened today. Dub and Envy finding themselves in trouble, did not manage to keep out of harm's way, and they have lost crucial time to Andre. Otherwise it would have definitely been at least a 2 or 3 way fight for the lead, which would have been a little more interesting to watch. But well done to Andre for keeping it clean himself, and rightfully so. Takes almost maximum points, a win in the race, second place in the sprint, and that is just 2 points shy of getting the maximum of the weekend. Well done to him.
Yep, Envy still leading this championship early on, but Andre's catching up quite a bit. Dub jumps a couple of positions in the championship as well. But yeah, Gouts is still in that mix in the overall Bwoah Racing League Championship. But with that, we wrap up race number 4 of the Bwoah Racing League Season 6. For the folks who came by, thank you very much. Make sure you hit that like if you haven't already. Subscribe to us for more sim racing action. And Dalvin, it's always a pleasure here behind the mic alongside you.
Indeed, once again, thank you, Satak, and I'll extend the gratitude back to you as well. It's always been a pleasure to have a partner alongside in the comms box, and with the amount of action that we have, I think we're definitely going to be needing each other's support for the upcoming races, because it looks like it's only going to get spicier from here on. But yeah, for the folks who has been tuning in very diligently week in, week out, thank you as well for tuning in. We will see y'all next week once again. Till then,
yeah, see you in the Miami circuit.
Yeah, another new track. Take care, everyone. Stay safe, and bye-bye.